Welcome again to yet another episode of Can.Did Talks. As you all know, this is a show that talks about the story between can and did. A lot of us believe that we can do a lot of things. Only a few of us actually go out there and accomplish what they set out to do. And we believe that story between can and did actually is a great lesson rather than talking about what happened after they did it. Because for a lot of us, it is that motivation that is required. Of course, this particular episode is being shot as a part of our special limited edition series called the Can.Did Talks She series on the eve of the Women's Day 2021. Who I have today has been a colleague and acquaintance for quite some time now. Does some wonderful job. For a long time, I didn't really understand what she does. But over my conversations with her, I kind of figured out what she does. Please join me in welcoming Jyoti Pathania Salwan, who is an image consultant. She's the founder, director of a company called Bianhua. And my first question, Jyoti, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Teja. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm raring to go and ask you that question. What does Bianhua mean? Because I had to struggle to even figure out how to pronounce it. So before I started recording, I obviously checked with you. So tell me, what is Bianhua? Where is all this coming from?
All right, Teja. So Bianhua essentially is a word taken from Taoism in Buddhism, which means metamorphosis or transformation. So when my business partner and I were trying to find a name for our company, we kind of racked our brains because we wanted something, which means transformation, which means metamorphosis, because that is exactly what we do with our clients. So then we came across this word and it kind of just made us very happy because we were looking for a word like that. So that is what Bianhua is all about.
Wow, that's actually very powerful. Very powerful, Jyoti.
Thank you.
Transformation otherwise, of course, corporates have been using it for a long, long time. And when we say transformation as a person, I think it somehow goes into spirituality and wellness. But from what you're saying, it is also about our physical appearance and transformation otherwise in terms of our demeanor, our body language. So I'm thinking it's all of that as well. Now, I'm a trainer myself, and I often consult for large organizations in leadership. And every time I go with a new topic or something that we could try, the first thing that I get told is, come on, this must be just another gimmick, that you trainers always repackage old wine in new bottles. What is image management, Jyoti? Talk to us a little more, because for a lot of people, one, they don't understand what image management is. And for the people who think they do, they think, it's just another gimmick. Tell us a little more about what is image management.
Gladly, because I get asked that question a lot as well. So first things first, before I answer what is image management, I'd like to talk about image. So what is image? So image is what we are in the eyes and minds of others. It's how, they see us, how they perceive us. And it's largely formed by them, observing our mannerisms, our demeanor, our appearance, our body language, and etiquette. Right. So it is us in their eyes and minds. It's how they remember us. It's how they form a mental picture of us in their minds when people talk about us, when they hear our name. That's image. Right. So now coming to image management. So image management is like, I would say, an ongoing process, where we create and maintain an image, this image that I just spoke about, so that we come across as more authentic, we come across as more appropriate and attractive in order to again come across as confident, more credible, and more capable. After all, it's the image which really travels, right? We as we enter a room, before we even open our mouths, what happens? Our clothes, our demeanor, our appearance is already talking to people around us.
Right.
So that is what image consulting, image management is all about.
So this is real science in a way.
Yes, it is. I would like to also add over here, like you said, gimmick. So now let me take you back to those golden days when, people were studying and were sent to Gurukul. So they were not only studying about maths, and they're not studying just science and geography, etc. A large portion of what they studied was also confidence building, was image management. It was about how to walk and talk, what to wear when you have an audience in your kingdom, how to sit down and eat food with them. And also, let's go back again in history, when the father of our nation, when he joined the freedom movement. Teja, what did he do? What's the first thing he did? Can I ask you that question?
Uh, I think changed his dressing from a barrister suits.
Absolutely, Teja, bang on. So the first thing the father of our nation did was he changed his appearance. And why did he do that? Because he wanted to come across as somebody who's more credible, somebody who's more honest, somebody that people will look up to. So he dressed down. He discarded all the clothes that a barrister usually wore and started wearing Indian clothes, started wearing dhoti, so that he would come across as more appropriately dressed, more authentic. And then what happened? He had a large fan following. So that is the power of image. We cannot not take care of our image. We cannot not keep that into our minds when we're dressing up a lot.
In fact, I remember uh, when I was in childhood learning verses of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked Lord Krishna once, right? Snita prajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya kesava. What he's trying to say is, when we talk about somebody who's learned, who's a wise man, how does he talk? How does he dress? That's the first question that Arjuna asked in chapter 12, if I'm not wrong. And of course, Krishna then goes out to explain that it is just not about the skill, it is also about how you present yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And because it's very obvious, because in today's visual world, we cannot not communicate, Teja. Every step of the way we're communicating. The minute we leave our homes, the threshold, we start communicating, whether it's in the elevator or in the staircase or with the cab driver or anybody. Even if we're not talking to them, we're still communicating. It's
Right.
that important.
Right.
So yeah, we cannot not communicate.
And I think we can go on talking about this. I think there is a Harvard survey as well that came long back, almost a decade back, that talks about how most of the interview decisions are taken within the first 2 to 3 minutes of even the
Absolutely.
interview starting.
Absolutely, Teja. Let me also talk about, like you mentioned, within the first couple of seconds. So the thing is that in the entire gamut of communication, like now we're communicating. If there was no visuals here, it wouldn't be as interesting, right? So in the
Right.
entire gamut of communication, verbal or spoken communication is just 7%. It's just 7%.
Right.
Then comes 28%, which is how we speak, the intonation, the tone of our voice, etc. And a colossal 55% is our body language.
Right.
Visual, it is all visual. So we have to be at our best, the best versions, always and every time.
Absolutely. So well spoken. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, Jyoti. So, so again, look, I mean, I've had a lot of questions about image management. Of course, I've heard this term almost 5, 6 years back as a profession. How is the acceptance to this? Do you think people are coming out now, you think, to say, because this particular one, see, leadership skills, I understand people would want to, develop themselves and all of that. Would people come out in the open and say, you know what, change my image? Is that happening?
So, Teja, what's happening is people have realized the importance of looking their part. They have realized, like Oscar Wilde says, your the way you dress, it speaks more about you than your job title or your job description. So people have realized this, and I get a lot of inquiries almost on a regular basis where people are asking me if I could help them with the dressing, if I could help them with their wardrobe management, if I could help them with executive presence. So they have understood that this is really something which is needed, because earlier on what used to happen is people used to spend a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort on educating themselves, learning new skills, just for anything to stay competitive and ahead of the game, right? But
Right.
what were they really doing about their visual image? Nothing. right? So they have now realized the importance. And I would like to add over here, somehow this pandemic also kind of, I have a feeling, it kind of brought this change in people, because there were a chunk of people who wouldn't really be interested in dressing up because they were working from home. But there were also this large chunk of people who realized the importance of dressing up even while working from home. Because there is a term called enclothed cognition, Teja, which means that, our clothes, they have powers, and they talk to us. They talk to our psyche. So
Right.
if you just dress to relax, your brain just relaxes. So our clothes, they serve as constant reminders for us to do a job, for our intentions to get things done.
Right.
So there are those people who used to reach out to me even during the pandemic and say that, hey, now that we're working from home, I still want to be at my productive best. I want to really do something really nice for my team. Please help me. Tell me, how can I do that? And to them, I used to tell them that the first and foremost thing is get up, dress up, and then sit down to work.
Right.
There's no other way.
Right. I mean, you make me feel nostalgic. In fact, I remember even as a child or even today, every time we dress up or we buy something, whether we're going to a wedding or it's a festival, or if I'm wearing a a dress that I know I'd look good in, suddenly my entire demeanor is different that day. Right. I'm walking out more happy. I'm suddenly my body language changes because I know I'm looking good.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So what you're saying is you help people do this every day.
Absolutely.
Right, so it's just creating that awareness, and you're saying people do accept that now, and there are a
Yeah,
lot
and
more people.
there was a time, Teja, when people thought, image management is all about outer appearance, and has that got nothing to do with how you feel inside, or how about you internally, right? But I would say image consulting or image management is not just about your outer, exterior. It's not about your outer appearance. It's a mix of what you want to show to the world as well as what you are within. It's all about respect. It's about respecting yourself and respecting the other person. It's about respecting your job, your boss, respecting your goals and your roles in life. It's about self presentation. It's You can only present yourself beautifully if you feel good about you inside. If you're not feeling good about you, I don't think you can present a beautiful you to the world. So it's all about loving yourself. It's all about you know uh, having reverence for yourself. It's all about showcasing your best version to the world.
Very nice. Thanks for sharing that. So, uh, I know while this all sounds great, there's one thing that I'm not able to connect to, Jyoti. Still,
Mhm.
right, in spite of
Mhm.
you explaining that so well,
Mhm.
is often everything is virtual now. Most of it is virtual, and I don't see that change, even though things come back to normal, right?
Mhm.
Because I think people have realized the beauty of the online world now with virtual
Yeah.
meetings. And so one thing that I've observed though, Jyoti, in all my meetings thus far, my trainings thus far, is more than 90% of them anyway switch off their videos.
Ah,
So in that context, and something that trainers, you would know this, right?
yeah.
As trainers, we are struggling across the globe. And this is just not India. I'm talking about Poland. I'm talking about Egypt, wherever I train. 90% of them don't have their cameras on. Now, the reasons could be many. Some say it's bandwidth. Some say, I'm at home. I'm not comfortable sharing.
Mm.
What are your views on that? Because how much of your communication do you think is getting impacted as an individual if you're talking, on a platform where you could have video on, but you're still choosing to do it on the audio? What
Yeah.
do you think is the impact of this in teams and communication?
All right. So to this, I usually, say that the reason we get into a virtual call is because, or virtual video call is because we want to see the other person. Otherwise, we can just make a regular mobile phone call and we're sorted, right? So the reason is that we want to connect. We want to connect visually with the other person, and we should remember that communicating in this manner is what sets us apart from the rest of the species, right? If we were to just communicate without seeing each other, it would make no sense really. You might as well be talking to a robot and you wouldn't know about it, right? And also remember that our ability as humans to recall and store video information is far stronger than our ability to recall and store audio only information. We might just forget because, like I said, the Mehrabian thing that it's always about observing the other person talk. It's how the other person is using the hands, using the eye gestures. It's about how the other person is looking into your eyes, that little dot on the laptop. It's all about reaching out to the other person and connecting. And if that is not happening, I don't think any video call is complete, because might as well just take up your phone and pick it up and call the other person. There's no need otherwise, right? So
Right.
I keep urging people that if it's a video call, if it's meant to be like a virtual call, please switch the camera on. It makes that much more sense. It's a complete communication process. Let it happen. Humanize the virtual call. Just add that human touch to it. Otherwise, it just seems like you're talking to a robot.
But people still get their work done, right, Jyoti? So what will be that added advantage of that added mojo if I'm switching on the video? You think?
So the thing is that, like I said, include cognition. In order for them to be able to switch the camera on, they would first have to be prepared for it, be ready for it, dressed up well. So what happens is the minute you get dressed to work, you get pushed into productivity mode. It's not like you will not get your work done. You will get your work done. Probably something that you would have done in 2 hours, you'll get it done in like 7 hours. So you're not at your productive best because you're still lazing around. Like I said, you dress to relax. Your brain simply relaxes. It will still get the work done, but in a relaxed manner.
Right.
So it's up to you. How do you want to get it done?
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for that. Really interesting. Excuse me. So all this seems like a lot of work, right? I mean, I've not seen a lot of image management consultants, especially for corporates. Of course, I've seen it for films and in the arts, right? Of course, we've seen that over the years. What's your motivation to do this, Jyoti? What's your background? Why this? Because you also seem to make a great trainer. Why image management?
All right, so Teja, my own grooming started way back in my childhood. So my father, an army officer who's now happily retired, it started under him, and my mother, a gracious army lady. So we were always at the best of our behavior. We had to sit in a proper way. We had to dress up, even though it was a Sunday. We had to dress up nicely and remember our p's and q's. And then I joined after growing up and finishing my studies. I joined the education industry, which I was a part of for 18 long years. And, I used to go and train schools, teachers and school management on scholastic and post-scholastic topics. Every time, Teja, trust me, every time towards the end of my workshop, I would get a note from the principal asking me if I could do like a quick, short little module on the importance of dressing well for teachers. Every single time. I can't even remember one time when I was not asked to do this. And so it got me thinking that, how do they think that, I was able to, do it like impromptu? How would they think that? And then it got me thinking again that maybe it's the way I'm portraying myself. It's the image that I'm showcasing to the world. And they probably like it. And that's why they're asking me to talk about it to their teachers and the management. So I started incorporating a little bit of image management into my scholastic modules as well. And they loved it. So much so that I had to prepare a whole different module just for teachers on the importance of dressing in a particular manner. And that is what, also led me into kind of doing this course formally from ICBI and getting myself certified in that internationally. And so here I am.
Very nice. So that's your motivation. You're saying of how. So you've always been appreciated right from school for doing this. So this is not normal though. Not everybody has this, because I remember my childhood. I was primarily coming from a middle class family. My dressing, everything was dependent on what my parents' budget was and what their taste for clothes were. Right.
Mhm.
I think it was only after we came into a graduation, perhaps we become more aware of ourselves in terms of how we look. But what you are saying and sharing is incredible. So thank you for that. So is image management only for women, Jyoti, or do men need it, do you think? Because all we have to do is just wear a shirt and show up, right? So,
No, why? Why not for men? Of course, men need it as much as we do. So, I don't know if you read my last, article on LinkedIn. It's all about a style hack which men ought to remember at all times when they're getting dressed. It's about the gig line. Having said that, image management is as important for men as it is for women, because why should women have all the fun? So, on
so
the
what's
other
this gig line? Tell me a little more about it.
So the gig line is that when a man dresses, right? So if you would have noticed the military men, so how do they dress? It looks impeccable, and they stand straight and they stand tall, and automatically, you get drawn towards them. So the gig line is that your shirt, the button down, the thing, the line, the shirt line where you have the buttons, then the belt line, and then the zipper, they all have to be in a straight line. if
Oh,
they're
wow.
not if they're not in a straight line, then you appear sloppy. So in order for you to appear more put together, and in order for you to attract an audience and look like your part, look taller and more attractive and more put together, you have to have the gig line straight. So I urge all you guys to spend that extra 1 minute in front of the mirror and make
You're
sure that
making me conscious now.
well, I can only see your collar, so you're good.
I'm good. I'm good. But that's any so as a bonus, right, Jyoti? What other tip can you give? The quick one for men on
For
the
men?
eve of
Oh,
Women's Day. Give a
oh,
quick hack for men.
okay, so many. Okay, so if you're wearing a jacket, make sure that your shirt collars don't overlap your jacket lapels. Number one. Number two, make sure your belt and your shoes match. Same color, make sure they match. Number three, and most important, make sure that your socks are of the same shade as your trousers.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
wow. Okay, that last one I don't follow, but I was aware of the other two.
All
Oh,
right.
I didn't know that. Okay, so
So
interesting.
if it is a different color, then it kind of cuts your body in that kind of a length, right? So let it just flow through.
Very nice. But this was nice talking to you. Jyoti. I think the definitely I can tell you as somebody who's been around, especially the training and the learning and development functions. Image management is not given enough focus, right? I think there's a lot of focus on skills. There's a lot of we do talk about body language, right?
Yes.
But not enough emphasis is given to how you look, right? And how that can in fact impact a lot of other things that we are training them, which is body language. So if you feel good, there are a lot of other things that automatically happen naturally.
Absolutely, Teja. Like I keep talking to all my clients, and I also go to certain universities to address their students on campus to corporate, and I talk about executive presence and how important image management is. So I keep telling them that in today's world, firstly, it's a visual world, like I said. You may not necessarily get a chance to verbally communicate with everybody present in a room. So, how do you communicate to them in that limited time? It's through your appearance, through your body language, it's through how you present yourself.
Right.
Otherwise you've lost it all. You've not got a chance to talk, to communicate, and you've not got a chance to even communicate through your appearance. So what do? You just came and you went. So use that opportunity, because we only get one chance to create that lasting first impression. Use that chance. Don't let it pass.
Right, right. So don't let it pass. Use that chance. Dress to kill, you're saying. So
Dress
that's
to impress.
dress to impress. Okay. You might kill or not, but impress for sure is what Jyoti is saying here. So typically, before I let you go, I know you're a very busy woman. Uh, how many? So if I were to consult with you, Jyoti, is it like one meeting? You give like a cheat sheet of what I should do, what I should not do, or it, how much time do I have to spend if I have to change my image?
So it actually depends on what it is that you really want to change about you, or what is it that you're looking for. So we do a baseline evaluation where we try and understand, we ask you a couple of questions and we let you talk about yourself, and we understand what is it that you really have in your mind. What are those areas that you think you need to change? And based on that, it's our first consultation. Based on that, we get back to you. It's if it's time sensitive, then as soon as you want us to. Otherwise, typically we take a day. We get back to you and we tell you that this is, what we feel. And then we sit down together, and we kind of curate a program just for you. We'll customize our. We have a whole lot of topics for us to talk about. So we'll sit down with you and customize a nice module for you. For instance, if you're looking at executive presence, right, then we will talk about communication. We'll talk about the importance of body language, right, and then gravitas. So we'll talk about these things. So it actually depends on what it is that you're looking for, as well as what we feel are the gaps.
So I'm just thinking about it from a perspective of a random user who's just either watching
Okay.
this show. By the way, our show is watched in about 23 countries right now.
Wow.
So if one of them gets excited by this,
Yeah.
do you charge for your first call as well, Jyoti, or the first consultation is always free?
So, see, if it's just a call, mostly if it's just a regular random call where we just are telling them what is it that we do, it's free. But if it's a proper consultation, then they have to pay for it, because we sit down for about 2 hours. And
Wow.
then we have some paperwork to do, some questions. We have like a questionnaire, so you to answer that, and then we have to observe you, right? If it's an in-person consultation, then we observe you. We observe your body gestures, your body language, your hand movement. If you're looking at us, directly, if you're fidgeting, we have to really understand. So there's a lot of science that goes behind it. So for our first consultation, which is again, it's really a very scientific way of doing it, we charge.
Right, right. So, I think the reason why I'm asking that question is a lot of times people hesitate to reach out because they aren't sure about, let's say, for example, if I'm, somebody who's seeing this show from Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
I really don't know who Jyoti is, right?
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I was just wondering if, so they can still call you, they can still talk to you, you'll explain.
Of course, yes, yes, yes.
Okay. All right. That's great. So that's nice to know. So all the people out there, of course, I don't do any sponsored shows. Jyoti's been a great friend for a few years now. This is not a sponsored show. This is not a lead generation show for Jyoti. I assure you that. But if you do think, this is something that you have as a need, reach out to her. I've obviously put the links on my Facebook page, on the YouTube video as well, and in my Spotify description as well. But other than that, Jyoti, thank you for giving us time. Thank you for sharing what is image management. I've always wondered. Of course, I had a vague idea, but thank you for clarifying a lot of questions. And may you go and change and transform a lot of people out there. Bianhua, indeed, it must be. But thank you for your time today, Jyoti.
Thank you so much for having me here, Teja. It's such a pleasure, really. And I hope to, get more people beyond Huad, as we say in our company.
Very nice. Absolutely. And I hope that happens. I pray to God that happens. So good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Teja.
Thank you.